going to do is Bruce is going to lead off, and he's going to give us a Neuroplasticity 101 that will lead into his discussion, and then we'll go down the row, and then we'll have questions from you, and I have a few questions we'll ask our panelists.
Okay, thank you, John. Well, as you know by now, there are 100 billion neurons in the human brain, each one directly connected to 1,000 others. And each one receives 100 inputs or messages just in 1,000th of a second. But how does it work in terms of thinking, feeling, things that we're all interested here? The important point is that thinking processes are not properties of single cells in the brain, and they're not properties of even a single region in the brain. They emerge from the integrated action of hundreds of thousands or millions of cells distributed throughout the brain in dynamically reconfiguring neural systems. So the next question is, what creates the connections, as you see here, between two neurons? What creates the connections that create these neural systems? And the important answer is that these connections are not determined by our genes at birth. Instead, they're shaped after birth by environmental input. Hubo and Wexler won the Nobel Prize for demonstrating the degree to which our brains are shaped after birth in both structure and function. As John said, neurons that fire together, wire together. There are many demonstrations of this in the research literature. Here's just one. What happens to your brain if you practice a violin for many years as a child? Now the pointer, I don't have a pointer that can show this to you, but if you look at the top panel there, the brain on the upper row, and you look at the left-hand side, that's controlling the right hand. And in a violin player, the right hand makes relatively simple repetitive movements. And you can see the volume of the sensory motor cortex there. Now, if you look at the other side, the right side of the brain, that's controlling the left hand, which is making many fancy fingering movements. And you can see with a naked eye a volume expansion in that part of the brain because of the activity-dependent enhancement and recruitment of neural resources. In the bottom row, you see the brain of a piano player, and they have two of these buffed up motor cortices because they're using both hands in many fine motor movements. So scientists have started to try to harness this neuroplasticity for therapeutic purposes. And many examples of that, but this is a particularly dramatic one, I think. It enables blind people to see with their tongues. So the individual wears camera like spectacles. The camera sends electrical impulses to a little piece of metal that's put on their tongue, like a TV screen, a little point of stimulation representing each point in the environment. And the brain doesn't care if it's getting electrical signals from the eyes or if it's getting electrical signals from the tongue. That doesn't matter.